What if I told you one instinctive decision, made under crushing pressure and brutal heat, changed the fate of an entire nation's tournament run? Because that's exactly what happened in Sydney, and by the end of this story, you might look at Belinda Bencic very differently than before. This wasn't just another match. This wasn't just another win. This was a week-long endurance test that turned into a defining moment for Switzerland, and it unfolded in a way that nobody could have scripted better. The United Cup semifinal between Switzerland and Belgium had everything: pressure, legacy, physical exhaustion, and a mixed doubles decider that would leave one team standing and the other stunned. But to understand why this moment mattered so much, you have to understand what Belinda Bencic was carrying onto that court. 8 matches in 7 days, 4 singles, 4 mixed doubles, every point feeling heavier than the last. And in front of her stood Elise Mertens, a player who simply refuses to go away quietly. From the opening ball, it was clear this was not going to be a comfortable afternoon. Bencic struck first. Clean hitting, sharp timing, controlled aggression. She took the first set 6-3 and looked like she was on her way to another routine victory. But tennis has a way of punishing assumptions. Mertens adjusted, absorbed the pace, and dragged Bencic into longer exchanges. The second set slipped away 6-4. And suddenly the weight of expectation crept into the match. Now remember the context. Switzerland needed this point. Stan Wawrinka was still to play, but nothing in team tennis is guaranteed. Every game carried national consequences. Every missed forehand echoed louder than usual, and as the third set began, you could see the stress on Bencic's face. She surged to a 3-1 lead, only for Mertens to dig in, save break points, and flip the momentum. Game by game, the pressure mounted. When Mertens went ahead 6-5, Bencic was serving to stay in the match. 30-all. 2 points from defeat. 2 points from letting her team down. And then something extraordinary happened. Belinda Bencic walked to her bag and pulled out a freshly strung racket. No coaching, no conversation, just a feeling. A split-second choice driven entirely by instinct. It was the kind of decision players make when logic no longer applies and only belief remains. What followed was breathtaking. 9 points. 9 consecutive points. No hesitation. No fear. Just pure execution. The tiebreak wasn't close. It was a statement. 7-0. A flawless finish after nearly 2 hours and 40 minutes of emotional warfare. When the final ball landed, you could see it. Relief. Exhaustion. Release. Bencic later described it perfectly, saying it felt like 170 kilos had fallen off her shoulders. That wasn't just stress. That was responsibility lifting. Switzerland led 1-0. But the job was far from done. Then came Stan Wawrinka. This season is his last. Every appearance now carries the weight of farewell. Every match feels like a chapter closing. Facing him was Zizou Bergs, a player with far less history but nothing to lose. The match swung back and forth. Wawrinka showed flashes of his brilliance, his trademark backhand still carving lines through the court. Bergs refused to blink. The second set went to a tiebreak, and when Wawrinka took it, the arena buzzed. Momentum felt ready to swing. But tennis is cruel when timing betrays you. At 3, all in the third set, everything hung in the balance. Then came the 8th game. Bergs attacked. Wawrinka defended. One loose service game changed everything. Bergs broke, went up 5-3, and held his nerve to close it out. Just like that, the tie was level. 1 match apiece. Everything riding on mixed doubles. Now pause for a moment and consider the stakes. Belinda Bencic had already played singles. She had already delivered under maximum pressure, and now she was walking back onto court for the 8th time that week. Alongside her was Zizou Bergs, a player who had won just 6 tour-level doubles matches last year. On paper, this was not a pairing built for heroic endings. Across the net stood Elise Mertens again, this time with Zizou Bergs. Momentum seemed to favor Belgium. Fatigue seemed to favor Belgium. History seemed to favor Belgium. But tennis doesn't always care about paper. From the first point, Bencic took control emotionally. She led, she directed, she trusted her partner. and Jakub Paul responded with something no statistic could predict. Courage. Down the line. Again and again. Winners struck not with safety, but conviction. Bencic urged him to go for it, and he did. Over and over. In moments where hesitation would have been understandable, Paul chose bravery. Switzerland took the first set 6-3, then reality hit. The second set disappeared in a blur. 6-love to Belgium, momentum gone, energy drained, the crowd restless. A match tie-break would decide everything. 10 points. That's all that stood between Switzerland and the United Cup final. This is where champions separate themselves. Bencic locked in. No panic, no drama, just clarity. Paul followed her lead, continuing to swing freely. Belgium blinked first. Mini breaks came. Confidence shifted, and before anyone could fully process it, Switzerland surged ahead. 10-5. Match. Tie. Nation. Switzerland was through to the final. In that moment, Belinda Bencic had done something rare. She hadn't just won matches. She had carried belief. 8 wins in a week, 4 singles, 4 mixed doubles, under heat pushing 43 degrees, under expectations that could crush even the strongest players. And she didn't shy away from the pressure. She embraced it. Listen to how she spoke about her partner afterward. She didn't talk about tactics. She talked about bravery, about trust, about going for it when it matters. That's leadership. That's what team tennis demands. Meanwhile, Stan Wawrinka's loss felt different, not because of the result, but because of what it symbolized. Each defeat now edges him closer to goodbye. And yet, even in loss, his presence mattered. His fight mattered. His role in pushing Switzerland to that deciding match mattered. This is why the United Cup is different. It's not just about rankings. It's not just about titles. It's about moments when individual pressure turns collective, when one player's instinctive racket change can swing an entire tie, when a doubles player with nothing to lose becomes a national hero for 10 minutes of fearless tennis. And the story wasn't even finished yet. Waiting in the final would be either the defending champions, the United States, or a powerful Polish team led by world number 2 Iga Swiatek. On the other side of the draw, Coco Gauff, Taylor Fritz, Hubert Hurkacz, stars everywhere. But Switzerland had something just as valuable: momentum, belief, and a leader playing the tennis of her life. Think about what Bencic achieved here. She didn't dominate with ease. She survived. She adapted. She trusted her instincts when logic screamed otherwise. That racket change wasn't about equipment. It was about surrendering control and letting muscle memory take over. That's something every tennis fan understands on a deeper level. We've all watched players tighten up. We've all seen matches slip away because someone couldn't release the pressure. Bencic did the opposite. She leaned into the chaos. She let instinct lead. And that's why this run matters. Not because of a trophy that hasn't been lifted yet, not because of a final still to be played, but because of what it revealed about her as a competitor. In brutal heat, with a nation watching, with her legendary teammate nearing the end of his career, Belinda Bencic stood up and delivered. Again, and again, and again. So now the question shifts to you. Was this the most impressive performance of Bencic's career so far? Or do you believe this is just the beginning of something even bigger in 2024? Drop your thoughts in the comments. TennisZap reads every single one. And if you felt the tension, the courage, and the drama of this moment the way we did, you already know why stories like this are why we love tennis. Because sometimes, all it takes is one brave swing, one fresh racket, and the belief to go for it when everything is on the line.